Hello everyone, and welcome to another Python tutorial video. Last video we covered the basics of Python programming, and in this video we're going to cover conditional statements and logical operators. Now let's begin the tutorial. Now, nearly every program in the world depends on something called a conditional statement, and this can look as an if or else statement. For example, if x does not equal to x, do this. If it is, do that. That's an example of an if or else statement. Now, there are different conditional operators, I should say, logical operators, and it can vary a lot. So first of all, let's get our mock variable. So our first variable could be 5, and our second variable can be 15. Now, let's make an if or else statement. If a is equal to 15, print x. Now we can see that a is not equal to 15, so this will not do that. You can do an else print y. So if you follow this logically, if a equals to 15, which it doesn't, then do this, else do this. So it should print y, which it does. Now there are different logical operators. So for here we have a logical not, which is an exclamation mark. If you remember your maths lessons back in school, you should remember a greater than or less than, or greater equals to, less equals to. Those are one of the main logical operators. So let's get back our mock variables. So a equals 5 and b equals 15. So if a is bigger than b, print a is bigger than b. If it isn't, then print this. A is not bigger than b. So a is clearly smaller than 15, so it should print a is not bigger than b, which it does. Now let's change the variables up a bit. If a is bigger than b, which now it is, it will follow this conditional statement. It will print a is bigger than b because it checks the variable data type. So 20 is bigger than 15, therefore it will print this, which it does. And one thing to remind you guys, let's say you want to do a equals logical operator. You can't do this. One equal sign in programming means that you're stating a variable, you're creating a variable. So you're assigning this number onto this variable. If you want to compare two variables, you add two equal signs. This time it's not saying a now equals b, it's checking whether a equals b, which it doesn't. So it will not print this, but this. So if they're now equal, it should print a equals to b. Now see what happens if you don't put two equals. Invalid syntax. Always remember guys, if you're doing conditional statements, always put two equal signs. Otherwise you're just creating a variable which does not make sense at all. And also you can do an AND. So if a equals to b and a is bigger than 5, you can print this as well. So that's two logical operators. First it checks if a equal to b, which it is, and then it checks if a is bigger than 5. Then, if all the conditions are met, it follows with this line. If it isn't, then it goes to the else line and then prints this. Now, I'm giving you a challenge now. I want you to make a mock passport control program where the user has to be 18 or over and have a passport to pass. The program asks the user for his age and whether he has a passport, and then using conditional arguments, it then decides whether the person can get through the border. I'll be back. Now you should have something like this. First of all was the starter rules, and made a variable stating whether the person has a passport or not, and whether he's underage. So for default, he doesn't have a passport and he's underage. Then I ask the user for their age, and then whether they have a passport or not. If the answer to the passport was yes, it says that it's true that they have a passport. The variable passport have is now true. And another conditional statement that I put down is whether their age is over 18 or not. So if his age was 18 or over, his underage will come to false. And remember, since it's asking for a string, you have to convert it into an integer. So don't just put age, you have to put int age. And then I did more conditional statements, checking whether he can pass or not. So if he has a passport and is not underage, he may pass. Then I did, if that is not met, if he has a passport and is underage, then it types, you need to be 18 or over. The third one is whether if he doesn't have a passport, but isn't underage, it then writes he needs to have a passport. And if all three conditions are not met, then it prints, you need to be over 18 and have a passport to pass. And one thing I forgot to mention, when you're doing long lists of conditional statements, the middle ones need to be elif. If they're not elif, it will count and then a separate conditional statement. So this else, it's if all three are not passed. If it was just if, only if this one's not passed. So technically, if this was true, this can also be true because this one isn't true. So yeah. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it taught you something. Remember to like and subscribe if you want more tutorial videos, and follow my Twitter. Thank you, goodbye.